Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome, one and all. Thank you so much for being here. Um, oh, wait a minute. What did I do? Okay, I think that looks okay. Oh, there we go. I just want to make sure that you all can hear me. Thank you so much for joining us. Of course, I don't think we'll be here more than an hour. Um, but then again, I say that every time, don't I? But really, I don't think we'll be here more than an hour. Okay, get rid of that. All right. Just realized that it's okay. It's okay. It's all good. Just got to bring the slide up again. I was missing one little piece of it. Um, hey, Lydia Washington. Connie Balmer. Hey, Connie Balmer. You had a question for me. I'm sure I do. I just have to figure out how to do that. But yes, I do have that. Um, Let me know how I should get that information to you. Right. And there we go. So lots of drama today. Lots of drama. And you know what? More drama still because I am still within a window of delivery for about 20 minutes. So if for any reason, delivery date will be provided as soon as possible. Looks like they're not going to make my delivery today. I was sitting here patiently waiting for my Le Creuset. And what could I say? My Le Creuset is not coming today. They have changed delivery. Wow. And I have been waiting all day. Oh, well, I would have been on by now, but I was trying to give them a chance to make my delivery. I got my pinch bowls, the least expensive thing they had available. Hello, Bunny Rose, Emma D, Joyce Anderson, CV, um, Sherry Ware, Sherry Ware, Sherry Ware. It's not over till it's over, Sherry Ware. You know that Royal Sussex is coming. The Sussexes are coming. That sounds like a war song, doesn't it? Sherry Ware. Love Wins Movement. Thank you so much for joining us. Oh, look who just came to. Church Nelly, as I live and breathe. Joan Garcia. Oh my goodness, is there a new member? Nadine Burke, thank you so much for becoming a new member. Thank you very much. And thank you for supporting Royal Sussex. The delivery date will be provided as soon as possible. It better. That's all I can say is it better. Uh, uh, uh. Okay. And they always say, what can Brown do for you? Well, it looks like Brown. Oh, I can't say that. I can't say that. I cannot tell you what I think Brown has just done to me. Hey, Legs, thank you so much for joining us. All right, so let's get on with it. Oh, Jennifer Clark, thank you so much for the super sticker. And thank you, as always, for watching Royal Sussex. And thank you, Elaine Parker, for the super sticker. Excellent. All right, so check this out. If two people deserve to be displayed in a gallery of fine art, I think it is our Duke and Duchess of Sussex. I don't know anybody else who would, you know what I'm saying? They're just They're like a rom-com come to life. TT Jones, thank you for becoming a new member. That is exciting. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right. So yeah, that's pretty cool, right? I'm going to give you a chance to take a screenshot. Got it. Got it. Okay. Okay. All right. It's going, gone. All right. So Prince Harry argues he has been singled out for inferior treatment after feeling forced to step back as full-time working royal in High Court showdown. Did I say that twice? In High Court showdown. There's only one court. It's not fair. It is certainly not fair. And in that photo, you can see Harry all the way there in the back. Yeah. And, one thing I have to say about the courts, well, of course, I do mean the British courts. They, they're in, they're the only ones that I know of that can compete. You understand what I'm saying? They're the only ones that I know that can compete, because I don't know any place else on God's green earth where you can find a worse wig. Well, you know what? That's not all the way true. That's not completely true. There is a I just realized there is a place where you can find a worse wig. Yeah. Stiff, um, probably synthetic, um, somewhat weathered, threadbare. Yeah, there are worse wigs. I guess how could I be so careless? Why didn't I think about that before I opened my mouth? I don't know. But anyway, there are places where you can find a worse wig. And all you have to do is watch GB News. And just like Haley's Comet comes around every 76 or so years, well, every, I don't know, 20 or so hours, there's another sighting of that person's wig. So either way, some people are terrified of either way, some people are terrified of it. Um Listen, legs, I'm getting older and I'm not sure if I'm seeing double or not. Am I seeing double? What is happening right here? Oh, I see what it is. You left part of it off. No wonder the UK is in the second most miserable place in the world. They tell you to deal with abuse and to carry on as if you're are not human. However, notice that they have an anti-American sentiment. Yes, it is true that statistically, and I don't know how they come up with those numbers. I don't know, who does the polling or whatever, but statistically, they say that the United Kingdom is the second most miserable place on earth. Um, well, country in the world. So I guess, is that in Europe? Maybe that's just for Europe. Wow. Anyway, that is unfortunate. Um, because you know what? You know what I always say? Because listen, I am very pro working class people, right? And there's a lot of people in Britain, just like here in the United States, that work so hard, and yet there's such a shortage of housing. And of course, the price of goods and services have increased dramatically since the post war era. And it's just like, I think people are at the brink, they're at a breaking point. kind of like Nana's wig. It has reached a brink. Kind of like Nana's wig. It has reached a brink. It has reached a breaking point. It's what is that they say? There is the something, and then there's the abyss. Something like that. How does that go, Legs? There is the brink of insanity, and then there's the abyss. That's that old saying. So there is the brink of insanity, and then there's the abyss. And that's what I always think about when I take a good look at Nana with that fright wig that she has on her head. But anyway, as Harry says, it is not fair. Now, I do have a sound bite that I want to play for you because some things I think the professionals can explain better, and then we will talk about it on the other side. I mean, on the other side of the video, not the other side of the wig. See what I'm saying? Just so there's no confusion. The other side of the video, not the other side of the wig. All right. Well, now let me see. I go here. And then I do that. And then I do this. And we are good.
To challenge a decision to downgrade his security arrangements whilst he's in the UK. Let's go straight to the courthouse, to Helena Wilkinson, who's across this one for us. And Helena, tell us, what do you know about the grounds for this appeal?
Well, we've heard today, Matthew, from Prince Harry's barrister. I should say that he has left the court in the last 20 minutes. We saw him leaving, looking pretty happy, people shouting Prince Harry to him as he left. I've got with me Charlotte Gallagher, who's also following the story for us. And Charlotte, just sum up what we heard in court today.
Well, Prince Harry's barrister said that Prince Harry had been subjected to inferior treatment compared to other people that had essentially had their security looked at by this Home Office committee. She said that Prince Harry wasn't allowed to make his case and also wasn't allowed to read the risk assessment that was made about him. And this Home Office committee needed to reverse their decision because his current situation meant it wasn't safe for him to bring his wife and his 2 children to the UK. And also Prince Harry doesn't feel it's safe for him to come on a regular basis. Now, we didn't hear much from the Home Office barrister. They started just before the end of the day, but they said, look, Prince Harry does still receive security from the police while he's here. However, it is done on a case-by-case basis because he's no longer a working royal and because he doesn't even live in the UK anymore, he doesn't live on the same continent, his security was downgraded, but he still does receive security, and it's done on a more bespoke basis than it's done for other senior members of the royal family. So we're going to hear more from the Home Office barrister tomorrow. Their argument, I mean, this has already gone to the High Court and they rejected Prince Harry's appeal to have his security reinstated, well, his blanket security detail. So it's 3 Court of Appeal judges that will make their decision about it, but we're not expecting to hear what they think tomorrow. It could be weeks until we hear what their decision is.
All right, Charlotte, thank you very much indeed. So Charlotte said court back tomorrow. Most of tomorrow will be heard in private. Prince Harry, though, flying into the UK, especially for this Court of Appeal hearing.
Helena?
Okay, so most of tomorrow will be in private. I was surprised that they allowed cameras. I was surprised. I didn't know that was a thing, that they would allow cameras. But, you know, I'm glad for it. I didn't think that was a thing in British court. PSTG says, Nana better not get in a fight because that wig's going to slide off. Something tells me that wig has a grip like an eagle. Pound per square inch, it probably has some kind of grappling hooks. You know what I'm saying? Something tells me it's got some fight in it. But thank you so much for the super chat. And thank you for being a member. I greatly appreciate that. So now this is what I'm talking about right here. I don't know if you guys had a chance to see it. I suppose I could share it with you, but I just don't want to take any chances with the you know, the people. But that was extraordinary. Now, one of the squatties hand selected this particular part of it. I didn't get a chance to see the entire thing, but I want to go back and watch like from beginning to end of it. It is available if you go to BBC on YouTube, I think it is. I don't know if it's like an hour or 2 hours or something like that, but I definitely intend to watch it. I'm kind of interested in hearing what the arguments is, but I do have a more compelling part of it that I will share with you, and then of course, as usual, we will talk. It's only a minute and a half long, but we'll talk about it on the other side.
In that evidence, and I'm going to address this in the closed session in detail by reference to what the RMV does, what is done in the bespoke process, what the difference is. I'm going to try and answer my Lord Master of the Rolls' question to me about how this figures basically in relation to the appellant. But I wanted to show you now that those are the passages I will be challenging. And then in 190, the judge says, and this is page 146, he refers to Sir Richard's view that it was not possible for Ravek at that point to see how matters regarding the claimant would develop. I'm reading from about halfway down in that paragraph, and then there's the sentence, the position would not have been materially affected if an RMB assessment had been commissioned at the time. That's another factual finding that I say is wrong, and I'm going to deal with that also when I deal with the closed evidence. I should just say it's not entirely clear what the judge bases that assertion on. It appears to be based on the passages I've shown you. So the bits from Mottram 1, that evidence.
Okay, so when they pulled security, they didn't know that Harry and Meghan were going to stay in Canada or the United States. When they pulled the security, and you guys, please correct me if I'm wrong. When they pulled security, Harry and Meghan, ICK, Harry and Meghan were living in Canada in a rented like vacation property, right? And then one of the people said that they got a message from the Home Office or Ravek or whoever the heck it was saying that they had to leave in a few days. And Harry's like, well, what am I supposed to do? They didn't say. Now, Canada said that they were not going to provide any more security as well. There was no Netflix deal. There was no Spotify deal. They weren't even in California. It wasn't even for certain because initially Harry and Meghan had offered, we will go someplace else in the Commonwealth. And then that way, Will and Kate can have all of the magazine covers. They can have all of the attention. We will work with the Commonwealth. That's what they wanted to do at first. That didn't seem satisfactory. Someone ratted them out for that. Then, when they went on the trip to Africa, when they, came back, that's when they were pressured by Dan Wooten to tell the world that they were stepping back from official royal duty. If you don't tell it, I'm going to tell it. And how did Dan Wooten find out? One of those gentlemen with a beard that worked in the Kensington Palace, one of Willie's aides, leaked it to Dan Wooten, allegedly, but I think that's what they said in gosh, what is that? The byline leaked it. Now, stay with me, you guys. Let me know if there's any part of this that I got wrong. So Harry and Meghan had to rush a statement out there only for them to try to convince the world that the Queen didn't know, the Queen was blindsided, even though this was in negotiation for months. But they were not ready to tell it yet. But it was forced, it was coerced because somebody leaked the information. Okay? So they would not meet with Harry and Meghan. Meghan went to Canada for the Christmas break without Harry. Harry stayed behind. And then all of a sudden, everybody wants to sing like Aretha Franklin. We're going to go to Sandringham. We're going to have a summit. And we need to talk to you. You got 3 options, even though they only printed 1. And it was supposed to be a year of probation. We're going to give you an allowance, you and your wife and your child, an allowance for a year. And you're going to keep your royal protection for a year. But Harry would not drop the issue of who leaked the information about us leaving. Harry wanted to also know who said that they could pull security. That was another thing that he would not let go. But first, he wanted to know who leaked. And I do believe he understood that it was, the one that Meghan was seen out to lunch with. Remember that time the paparazzi found out that they went to lunch, and apparently someone within Kensington Palace had to leak that. Anyway, that person, or should I say, allegedly Christian Jones, the one that Willie is so close to. And they told Harry, if you do not drop your complaint, there is going to be consequences. And Harry refused to drop it. And so what happened? They were in Canada for a period of time. And then next thing you know, the security was gone and the funding was cut off, right? And so for 6 weeks of Canada, they finally had to do something before they closed the border. And this, of course, is for the benefit of those of you who do not know the chronological order of events. And I'm going to tell you to the best of my ability. And then from that point, without ceremony, Tyler Perry had a conversation with Meghan. He understood abuse when he heard it. He realized that Meghan, Harry were being abused by that system. So he said, I am going to send my security, my jet, and you can stay in my house as long as you choose. So he whisked them from Canada down to Los Angeles to a mansion up on the hill somewhere, where they stayed for, guess what? Another 6 weeks. Another 6 weeks. And somebody leaked that information. As soon as they could, they leaked the information, and here come the paps again. So there was no contract. There was no ability to pay that high price for security themselves when they took that security. That came along later. And then eventually we started hearing tales of Harry and Meghan buying a house. They got a deal with Netflix and Spotify, and we all know what happened after that. So Harry, at that point, was very well placed to pay for security for his family. Not to mention that he still had maybe about $20 to $30 million that he inherited from his mother mostly, and I think he got something from his great grandmother, the wino. Or was it his grandmother, great grandmother, the wino? Cookie, the little short fat one, Cookie. He got some money from Cookie. So, to the best of my recollection, that is the chronological order as I understand it. So, when they took security, it was no ability for them to pay it. It was, they had like 3 days, 3 days to get security. I think it was like 3 days. By the way, thank you so much for the PayPal. Y'all know I don't like to say the names of the people, but thank you, DR. Thank you very much for the PayPal. Because sometimes the names are different from what's, but thank you very much. Right. So, but you know what? I want you to put a pin in what I just said, because they are the way that they are speaking about this stuff, they make it seem like all of this is brand new, not only to the court, not only to the judge, but to everybody. And I'm not shocked, but you'll see what I mean, because I got something else I want to share with you. Let me see. Gayle King leaked that info on television while interviewing Tyler Perry. Now I've never heard that before. I've never heard that before. Nope, I've never heard that before. And I'm not saying it didn't happen, but I've never heard that before. But I tell you what, I know Gayle King did help with the birth of Lily. And if you know, you know. But she did help with the birth of Lily. And that was while, let me see here. Okay, I'm going to tell you how. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, because, it's all past tense. And this is only speculation on my part. I don't know this 100% for sure, but I'm going to tell you what I think happened. Gayle King was doing a little morning thing with Drew Barrymore. And she said, well, I'm still thinking about Harry and Meghan having a home birth and such and such and such and such. And for some reason, that just stuck in my head. I don't know why, but the way she was looking when she said it was kind of almost like she was pretending or acting or something like that. And I'm just like, why is she talking about this? And then maybe a week later or something like that, we find out that Lily was already born and at home. They were already home from the hospital. And I do believe that that was to throw off the paps. I promise you, I believe that that was said to throw off the paps. Now, I could be wrong. It could have just been by chance. So I have my feelings about Gayle, but I do believe in that instance, she actually performed a public service, and she performed a service for the Sussexes. I think that kind of threw some people off. Lydia Washington says, Baron, do not forget to set up your sticker goal and the timer. Also, you are close to 62K. Congrats in advance. Thank you very much. Everybody have been, people who have not been posting these shorts have kind of been stuck when it comes to the growth of the channels. And the reason why is because YouTube, I believe, is because YouTube wants people to engage with those shorts more than they do the long form videos, So I noticed that ever since the shorts have become more popular, the growth of not just my channel, but other channels have kind of slowed significantly. So, you know, I like the shorts myself, but I do think it comes at a cost. So, yeah, I have been stuck under 62K for months, like only a handful of new subscribers a week. But you know what? It is what it is. But thank you very much, Lydia Washington. And yes, I will set that goal. So I am going to set a goal of, let's do 15 super chats for today. And this is a new function. And I'm going to set the timer for 1 hour. Okay. And I'm going to say show enough super sticker. There we go. And there we go. I'm going to start it now. Now, no pressure, you all, but there's the goal in an hour to have 15 super stickers. All right. Thank you very much. And that is set. And Connie Bomber, I agree, Lydia. Oh, okay. Well, thank you. And thank you for the super sticker. They were trying to force Harry into returning to the UK. They wanted Harry to beg them. This is what they call a dysfunctional family. Yeah, that family, for the top of the aristocratic ladder, right? They're so trashy, that bunch. They're so trashy, and they do very trashy things. They really do. It's just like that guy that compared the family to, and forgive me if you live in a trailer park, but he compared them to a family from a trailer park. And I can see why, because they do some very, dare I say, common things. They're so common and so provincial and in some cases just completely ignorant. It's shocking, especially when you think about Princess Anne and Prince Charles, Andrew Parker Bowles, and Camilla Parker Bowles. I'm still confused as to who was in bed with whom. Am I saying that right? But anyway, the whole thing was just sick. It was sick. Brother and sister having an affair with a husband and wife. I hope they never got confused. I hope they never got confused who they were supposed to hop into bed with. Those are some sick people. Sick. You hear me? Sick. Okay. Joan Garcia. Okay, Baron, here's my super chat. Thank you very much. Heather Stroud, here's my super sticker. Thank you very much. And by the way, Joan, thank you for being a member. And Sonia Johnson, thank you very much for the super sticker. MLC, Lola Love, and PSTG, thank you for the super stickers. Oh, TCC Sun says, I got my order today. The sauce is so good. Well, I am so glad you're enjoying it. I am so desperate. Okay, now someone says when they get theirs, I'm supposed to get one in the very near future. And I hope so. That would be such a blessing. But in the meantime, I am thinking about that they said it has kind of a lemon taste to it. So my um preserve that I have, I'm kind of thinking about next time I eat some of it to squeeze a little lemon juice on it just to get me prepared for Megan's preserve or raspberry spread. But maybe I'll just hold off. I'll hold off. But I want to try that so bad because I love lemon with everything, with almost everything. I'm very like drawn to everything lemon and lime. And like when I eat fish, I if I got lemon or lime, either is fine. I eat curry, whatever, especially like chicken biryani or chicken marsala. I'm squeezing lime on it. So yeah, that is like me all over the place. So anyway, thank you very much, TCC Son, and thank you for being a member. Fresh Face, thank you for the super sticker. And Joy Amore, thank you for the super sticker. Patricio Marcel, been a long time. Thank you for being a member. And you've been a member for 30 something months, right? I think you're like one of the foundational members. But thank you very much for that. And you know what, guys? I have to tell you, it was actually Lydia Washington who encouraged me to start the membership because I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get around to it. And it took me probably another couple of months before I finally started the membership thing, but I didn't even have one for a long time. Joan Garcia says, Baron, I forgot. I'll get my. Oh, your Tacha is coming. Very cool. Let us know how it is. Wow, you're you're getting like you because you got the always as always, and now you have the Tacha. What else do you have from the Meghan universe? And by the way, thank you for the super chat. Okay. Oh, Nadine Burke, thank you for the super chat. All right, let's go on to the. Oh, did I do that? Yeah, I did that. You guys, can Harry wear a suit? Or I don't know why Harry hasn't got a deal with, I don't know, the Men's Warehouse, Armani, somebody. Get this man a contract. He is an action figure. He is a living, breathing action figure. It's as though some kid managed to reach under the Christmas tree and unwrap a present and pull this action figure out of the box, only for it to come alive and start moving in this world with us. I mean, look at him. That is a man of action. He's an action figure. He should be in the next Marvel movie. Yeah, Captain Sussex or something. Oh no, Captain Montecito? Montecito, man, something like that. But yeah, I think so. This man is an action figure. I mean, check him out. Now, I didn't get a close look at the tie now that I think about it, because he usually wears a nice tie. And I know it's kind of wishful thinking, but I feel like his hair is doing something. But then when you see him in a certain light, then it's like, I don't know. Oh, Harry, stop, Harry, stop. You're doing too much now. You're doing too much. Shoes shine to perfection. suit looks like it was tailored to fit perfectly. Nice tie, crisp white shirt. Y'all better get out of his way. Y'all better get out of his way. Jetstar, thank you for the super sticker. Let me see. Where are we at with the goal? Where are we at here? Did it change? Do I need to do something else? Oh, okay. All right. I guess I didn't know what to do. Anyway, thank you very much. Cappy G. We love Cappy. I'm sorry, with love. Oh, I'm sorry, with love, Cappy. Thank you, Cappy G. And thank you for being a member. Susie Mom, thank you very much. And P, thank you so much for the PayPal. Thank you very much. Now, I got another soundbite for you. You guys, there is going to be a bit of a trigger warning with this one. There is going to be a trigger warning with this one. But I told you earlier, stick a pin in it because it took my breath away to hear them say what they said. I mean, they were rude, right? But okay, let me just play it. Let me just play it. It was bizarre because I feel like they know better. But here we go. Trigger warning.
Fortune. He's trying to.
Okay.
Brand. I think he's the author of his own misfortune. He's trying to. He's monetized the royal brand. He's married Meghan, gone to live in America. He's resigned from royal duties. So I think that this is the price he pays. You can't have it both ways. But on the other hand, when he comes over here, I do think that there's a middle ground where the taxpayer who will be extremely resentful for paying for him because they say, why should we? He's not been particularly complimentary about the royal family. He's clearly made money out of those adverse comments. But I think the government could say, we will assess the risk and you pay for the security. And that might be some sort of hybrid ground which would satisfy the taxpayer.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? The government would say, we will assess the risk and you pay for the security. Let me continue.
Maybe satisfy him, but I think it's his fault. And on the face of it, he needs to pay for his own security. It's his issue because of the way he's behaved.
I broadly agree with Nick. I mean,
Okay. It's partially his fault, and he should pay for his own security. I'm not going to cuss. I'm not going to cuss. I'm not going to cuss. Didn't Harry flippin' say, I will pay for the security? Did he say that? These guys are deliberately misrepresenting. They are deliberately doing this. Either they are just plain ignorant or they're trying to create hostility against Harry. Harry offered to pay for it, and they accused him of treating the Met Police or the Royal Protection like they were some kind of, I don't know what, but it was as though they were accusing him of treating them like they were like some type of Bell's bondsman or something like that.
My slight note of sympathy is that Prince Harry didn't ask to be born into this situation. He's had the spotlight on him his entire life, and that has implied, and I'm sure provoked sort of risk. You know, he's not a normal person walking down the street who can do so anonymously. But as you say, the key factor here is Prince Harry is now an independently wealthy man. He's made his own money, and he's made that money because he's Prince Harry, not because he's the world's most talented individual, but because Netflix, for whatever reason, were willing to give him and his wife $100 million to create a bunch of shows that so far nobody's really taken to. Spotify have given them another $20 million. To me, that's $120 million that they can put towards their security, and I don't see why the British taxpayer should.
Do you see the looks on their faces? Now, I know that those are screenshots, but do you see how angry, how they're practically frothing at the mouth with hostility as they churn out these lies? And those are lies, either that or they're just ignorant. Harry offered to pay for the security, and they refused to accept it. They said, we don't do that, even though we know that they have done it before, and with the royal protection. And even Charles, at a certain point, was paying for security for Andrew. After the taxpayers spent about 3 years paying for it, then Charles, at some point, I believe, paid for it. So don't tell us what they don't do. Don't tell us what Harry didn't do or did not offer, because he did. This is deliberately creating hostility. It's not just misleading. It is deliberately stringing hostility so that they can run it up the flagpole and try to make as many people angry and reactive as possible. These are all deliberate palace talking points.
Do so instead.
Yeah.
Whenever I talk about these topics, and I've got to say, I don't tend to cover Prince Harry and Meghan very often. I just don't really. But when I do cover them, there's so much hate, and I mean, I can feel it. It comes in instantly as soon as I mention his name. So many people, they do get in touch. Absolutely.
You know why there's so much hate? Because you all are hateful people. I mean, look at their faces. Look at their faces.
Spies, the pair of them.
Yeah.
So if there's that level of hatred just coming through when we're talking about it, then that would back up the fact that he says, actually, potentially, I'm at risk.
Well, I think they see him as a traitor, don't they?
Yeah.
They see him as a traitor because whether you're a royalist or not, he could have gone away quietly and with dignity, but he specifically used the royal family to make millions and millions of dollars.
Now, I know that most of you all know better, but let me just say this for the sake of it. Harry and Meghan went away for a complete year without mentioning that family, without discussing any of the reasons why they left, and for 365 days from the day they walked out of Westminster Abbey, the palace, both palaces really, but mostly Kensington Palace, it was one assault after the other. One after the other. They would not leave them alone. They were leaking and briefing, telling lies. And then if that wasn't enough, when they finally had mentioned the Oprah interview, they came up with the mother of all lies, the whole bullying claims, because they were terrified that Harry and Meghan were going to tell the truth. And one of those Rhoda people even said, if you knew what I knew, you'd understand why they left. So why are they pretending like Harry and Meghan spent their first year just picking up checks left and right? They did not. They did leave and stay silent. And that yield nothing but more and more hostility, hatred, and assaults from that family. So, as Harry said, we tried to stay quiet. They wouldn't let us. So now comes the docuseries and Say Hello to My Little Book. And they had it coming. And as far as I'm concerned, they didn't do enough. But thank goodness for Omid Scobie with his book. But yeah, so again, for those of you that are not aware, we rarely saw Meghan for the first year they were gone. Heard very little from her, if anything. So staying quiet was not an option. It's just, you know, I'm not surprised, but it's just breathtaking the lengths that they will go to misrepresent everything that has happened since March of 2020.
So he can well afford his own security, and one would expect him to pay for it.
I actually think if he'd done that, if he'd gone to the States, what was it, 5 years ago, and led a quiet life, which, by the way, it wasn't as though he was hard up before he got the Netflix deal, right? He got 15 million, inherited 15 million, I think is right in saying. If I was him, I absolutely would have gone to Montecito, one of the most beautiful places in the world, and relaxed.
But you're not married to Meghan, are you?
No, thank goodness.
I think that
And just a little dose of misogyny on the way out, but you're not married to Meghan. Bitter, 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 left behind. The greatest, if working for GB News is the greatest achievement of their lives, then that they have truly have had a pathetic existence. If that is the height of your success, sitting at GB News, and by the way, you guys, everything that you see there is green screen. That's all green screen. They don't have long hallways and a bunch of people move. They don't have all that stuff. It's not a proper news bureau. They could be in someone's garage for all that matters. Most of what you see there is green screen. They ain't got half of what you see there, if that much. And you know why? That's because that's why they're so bitter, because they ain't got nothing.
Bitter. And you know, somebody needs to say it. Bitter. Bitter, bitter, bitter.
Yeah, they're just bitter, bitter, bitter. All that you see back there, that doesn't even exist. That's green screen. Say hello to green screen technology. Let me see here. Was this the next one? Tamara Waters says, Baron, don't forget to change your total views on the airplane. Oh, yeah. That's not exactly easy to do. It takes me a minute to put that together. So it'll be a while before I get around to that. But thank you for the reminder. And thank you again for being a member and the super chat. And let's see. AW, thank you for the PayPal. Greatly appreciate it. Hey, Tangerine Squeeze. Sharon Chung. Elaine Parker says, never sent a super chat before. Really? I'm your first super chat? I am so flattered. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I feel so privileged. Carmen Capella, thank you for being a member and thank you for the super chat. Lisa says, congratulations. Oh, are we there? Are we close? Let me take a look. All right, let me take a look. You know, I like to take a screenshot when I can get those zeros. So I'm going to take a little peek and see where we're at because I have a screenshot for every time we reach the milestone. All right. Let me see what we're looking like here. Okay, we're still close. All right, listen, if you guys have not subscribed, please do. Do you realize that we need only 35 subscribers to reach 62K? We could do that right now because I can guarantee you there's some of y'all that ain't subscribed. Now, do not make a mistake and unsubscribe yourself because then you have to wait 7 days before you can comment. But yeah, so take a look at it and see if you are subscribed. But thank you very much again, Lisa, for the congratulations. Greatly appreciate it. And let's hope that we can watch those numbers split before we leave today. And Barbara Richardson, thank you very much for the super chat and for being, super sticker and being a member of Royal Sussex. Okay. So, Tangerine Squeeze says, who are they to tell anyone how to live their life when they aren't living quietly, paying their rent with Harry and Meghan's name? Exactly. They are monetizing the Sussexes while they're sitting behind that desk, which is surrounded by a bunch of green screen. with with those office chairs from the what do you call it, from the scrap yard. Yeah. And those well, they don't look like uh high quality computers, but yeah, with their very barely functional studio. But yes, thank you very much, Tangerine Squeeze and Tangerine Squeeze. And thank you for being a member. Listen, I shouldn't have even shared this. We shouldn't have watched it, but I just, you can see right here that someone I hit their Twitter account says, "Oh, do keep up. Harry offered to pay for police protection from the outset. The Home Office said no, and it's not about the money. It's not about the money. Harry offered to pay from the offset. And with the unlikely chance that these people do not know that. Maybe they don't. Maybe they don't. Maybe they, well, I don't know. I'm sure they do, but let's say on the odd chance that they don't. From the tone and the facial expressions, I'm going to say they probably do, and that this is a bunch of bad acting, almost like some kind of kabuki theater or something, with all those exaggerated faces. This is just a bunch of bad acting, and they were licensed to go out and misrepresent and to stir up hostility. It, I guess, is the court of public opinion. They want to at least win in the court of public opinion. Harry is the son of a head of state. And I just don't know any head of state whose children do not have protection paid for by the state. And I'm going to go one further. Harry shouldn't even pay for his protection in California. He should not. But just to keep people calm, okay, is probably a good idea. But by right, he shouldn't have to pay for it. His position in that family is just by chance. Just by chance. It was not anything that he asked for. It just happened. And the fact that he decided to step away from royal duty, I do wish that some like uh, PhD or something with that has the credibility and could actually, maybe I don't know. Gosh, I doubt if it's something that Netflix would bother with, but if somebody will make a very well produced, well edited documentary about the abuse in the royal family, and not just for the Sussexes, but go back to the time of Victoria. Go back to the time of Victoria. The last 125 years of a very oppressive, abusive system, and focus it on the next generation and the next generation. Have that be the focus. How they're raised in these private schools and tutors and all of this sense of duty, and then exposing them to the public without their permission. They're not old enough to say, I want this life. They have to. Sometimes I look at George, Charlotte, and Louis, and it just breaks your heart. And if they leave, are you going to make them pay for their security? Because I guarantee you, one of them is going to say, hey, I'm out of here. One of them is going to say, I'm out of here. That is already destined to happen. Harry has given them the template, the blueprint, directions, probably got a little space for him out there in Montecito. We're gonna look up and see that one of those kids is living in the guest house in Montecito. That's what's gonna happen. Let's see. Baron or anyone here could tell me what in his book has kept these idiots saying how he talked bad about his family. I have read the book 3 times and didn't read where he talked bad about them. It's a lie. It's a talking point. It's a lie. And they just like I mean, look, we just seen these people, or at least we heard these people tell this big lie about Harry paying for the security. It is a talking point, and it comes from the top, and it is shared amongst others. But this is the first time I've ever heard Harry should pay, as if he didn't offer to pay. I'm shocked by that. I am shocked. I'm not shocked that they did it, but I'm just so surprised to hear it, because we all know how they put on this big performance about Harry trying to abuse privilege by throwing his money around and throwing his money at the Met Police like they're some type of hired night watchman or something like that. And so now these misfits are saying, well, he should pay. And I'm just like, are my ears deceiving me? Have I stepped into the looking glass? Don't you know better? Or does that matter? It's the whole point, to see how much hostility we can stir up. God, that's bad. That is bad. I wish that they could sue those people or something. That is just a blatant lie. That is a blatant lie. And they're even putting on these big animated faces. They're so outraged. They're morally outraged. And it's a lie. And then this dingbat, she wasn't any better. She wasn't even any better. The only thing that was said logically or sounded logical came from the guy at the bottom there when he said Harry didn't ask to be born into this life. But other than that, it was nothing but nastiness, bile, filth, bunch of miserable people. So Prince Harry sent formal letter before action detailing the claims about Wooten and the palace to News UK. Sir Clive Alderton, today King Charles and Queen Camilla, right-hand man, and former Lord Chamberlain Lord Peel put pressure on Harry to alter the legal papers. When the aide's name was not removed, and I believe that was Christian Jones, allegedly, from the legal letters, the Sussexes were cut adrift financially and left unable to protect themselves despite having security threats levels equal to the monarch. And it wasn't equal to the monarch, it exceeded the monarch. It exceeded the monarch. It was not equal. I can guarantee you, it was not equal. It exceeded the monarch. There was no credible threats to the degree against the Queen like it was with Harry and Meghan. I mean, after all, you had white supremacists going around calling Harry a race traitor. And they even described how to remedy his misjudgment, if you understand what I'm saying. The royal household had thought the threat of exposure would force Harry and Meghan to return to the UK, where their profile would be controlled, preventing them from eclipsing the future king. And that's all it was about. They were mad, angry, salty, miserable, because no matter what happened, Harry and Meghan owned the news cycle. No sooner than they went to Australia and they came back to the UK, everything changed. Everything changed. It was, they were given their marching orders, the tabloid media, the Royal Rota. They were given their marching order to put as much pressure on Harry and Meghan as possible, so that they would be less than. And also, any projects that they worked on, any service or philanthropy, whatever it was, anything that they wanted to do had to be filtered through Kensington Palace. And whatever Will and Kate wanted took precedence over Harry and Meghan. Whatever they wanted, whatever they needed, or if they just wanted to make sure that the Sussexes could not get any attention, it was filtered through Will and Kate's courtiers, because they were sharing the same household, Kensington Royal, right? But William outranks Harry. And with the staff, I mean, basically, you're not being paid directly from William, Kate, Harry, Meghan. So who do you answer to? William. William's the highest ranking person at the Kensington Palace. You certainly cannot refuse him because you don't work directly with the Sussexes. As a matter of fact, they made an announcement that Jason Knopf was working for Harry and Meghan. And then further down the article, they tell you that he's working with Will and Kate too. Same thing with Kristen Jones. And I promise you, I have that article somewhere. It said that Kristen Jones was hired to work with Harry and Meghan. And then further down the article, he works with Will and Kate too. So he didn't really work for Harry and Meghan. He worked for Will and Kate. He was only there to help suppress the Sussexes. That was the whole point, was to put their thumb on them to make sure that they could not move. It'd be like putting cinder blocks in their pocket, weigh them down. That was the whole point of it. They never really worked for Harry and Meghan. And Meghan tried every way she could to try to somehow make a connection with these people. And some of them, they did. They were successfully bonding and connecting. But then they were stuck between a rock and a hard place. There was so much suspicion, competition, apathy around the offices at Kensington Palace. But basically, Harry and Meghan were not allowed to shine. And they were obsessed with the idea of having Meghan on camera doing a curtsy to Will and Kate. I promise you, that was one of their biggest goals. And that's why they really wanted Meghan to come to the coronation, so that everybody can see her controlled. That was their goal. Because if you can put Meghan in her place, then you can keep the whole country in their rightful places. And that's beneath the royal family. I told you, you cannot turn your back on these people. You cannot turn your back on them. They're dangerous. They are dangerous. Who strips security away from a child, an infant? Who does that? And they didn't try to hide what they were doing. You either remove that name or there will be consequences. Doesn't matter whether you're right or wrong. You remove that name or there's going to be consequences. And they meant business. As evident. Oh, let's see here. Phyllis Brooks says, Baron, finally got in. Hi, Baron. Harry should be the remake of the new 007 movie. Yeah. Although I'd rather see him in a Marvel movie. But yeah. I listen, if it were at all possible, I think he would be perfect for that role. But they already having a meltdown over raspberry preserve. They're already having a meltdown over raspberry preserve. So I'd rather him do a Marvel movie. But thank you so much for the super chat. I've never seen so many people lose it over raspberry preserve or any other, fruit spread. Who would have thought that adults, men and women, would almost slide under the table at the thought of it? Joan Garcia says, haters, how's all that hate working out for you? Well, let me see. There you go. I submit to you Exhibit A. I submit to you Exhibit A. That is how it's working out for him. That is it right there. Examples of the prince's security concerns were also revealed in the judgment, which highlighted evidence submitted during the case. It said a letter was sent by the Duke of and Duchess of Sussex's private secretary in February 2020 to the then cabinet secretary, Sir Mark Sedwill, in which the Duke could not see how they could have his security removed unless the current risk to him and his family had decreased. It said the prince asked who would be willing to put him and his family in a position of extreme vulnerability and risk, a position that no one is willing to put that no one was willing to put my mother in 23 years ago. And yet today, with greater risk, as mentioned above, with the additional layers of racism and extremism, someone is comfortable taking accountability for what could happen. I would like that person's name and name who is willing to take accountability for this choice, please. They didn't want to name him. They did not want to give the name. Raybeck was supposed to be super secret, right? And then it turns out that people working within the royal household was Raybeck. Harry didn't know who was Raybeck. Raybeck was supposed to be some kind of secret cabal or something like that. He didn't know who they were. They didn't want to name the person who made that decision. Yeah, they didn't want to name the person who made that decision. They wanted to keep it from him. It was kind of like the Knights Templar, like a poor man's Knights Templar. There was nothing godly about them. They were not on a great crusade. They were doing the dirty work for the future king. That's all. Charles, you see, you got to remember this too. The Queen, let's not forget the Queen had her secretary draft a letter saying that it is paramount that Harry and his family is provided security. Do y'all remember that? That it was paramount that they had security. And it fell on deaf ears. Toward the end, the Queen would try to move certain pieces in place. And by then, Charles had replaced her senior staff with people of his own choice, his own liking. And so whatever the Queen wanted had to go through Charles. Charles was a regent in all but name only. Do you understand? Charles was a regent in all but name only. And all of the deals that Charles had made with the tabloid media, with the Royal Rota, all those years ago, where they would reform, they would somehow clean up Camilla's damaged reputation. They would clean up Charles' damaged reputation. And in exchange for it, take Harry and Meghan. Take Harry and Meghan. Do with them what you will. Seriously, that was it. That was it. Do with them what you will. And we will not interfere. We're not going to offer any protection. Whatever lies that are floating around, well, that's their business. And don't worry, they're not going to sue you. You see, those people, especially like the ones on GB News, they're trying to rewrite the history. They're trying to rewrite the history. They want the record to reflect that Harry and Meghan just carelessly threw caution to the wind and ran out of there and hopped on the first thing smoking without any regards to duty, family, the Queen, nothing. But we know that's not the way the story goes. And every time they go to court, the truth comes out. Now, this time, well, they're going to have some private words tomorrow. So I don't know that we'll ever be privileged to what happens in the courtroom or what's said, but they're going to have some private words tomorrow. But you know what? There may be some people there that will, tell the real story, not just the press. If they allow people in, we'll have some people there, I'm sure. Just like the last time. Because believe it or not, there's not a lot of people in the UK that's interested in this. There's a lot of people that do not know that Charles is in Italy or that Harry is in the UK. I would say most people are unaware and they don't care. Joan Lawman, thank you so much for the super sticker. And thank you for being a member of Royal Sussex. Now, let's get to Limonada. Let me see here. Joseph Berno, I haven't heard from you in so long. Let me take this one. Permanently revoking Charles' Father of the Year award and pulling Harry's security. For pulling Harry's security. What kind of father does that? He's a monster. He's an absolute creep. Anybody who would take his concubine to Rome, the eternal city, hopefully, that is hoping to meet with the Pope. Anybody who would do that is a real pig. A real pig. Charles lost a lot of people when he brought Camilla into Westminster Abbey. The two adulterers, fornicators. One of them taking an oath, a sacred oath, in a house of worship with all of the taint, all of the filth that he carries around. I still am bothered by that they have such little regard for a church, any church. That was disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And for the cost of everything, you would think that those two people would have at least smiled that day. Charles looked like he needed to change his diaper or something. And Camilla, she looked like her Spanx had rolled up on her. Remember how they were looking? Camilla looked like her Spanx had rolled up or bunched in the wrong place. They looked angry, combative. Not exactly a fairy tale, was it? Ugh. Is it Sabri Brew? Thank you very much for the super sticker. And thank you for being a member of Royal Sussex. Very cool. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, Charles looked like he couldn't wait to get home and give himself an enema. He did. That's how he had this very pensive look on his face for Coronation Day. Oh, that looks so sad and pathetic. It really did. It was just awful. All those years he waited to be king. And in between that period in which he was confirmed the Prince of Wales in that ceremony, all the way from that point till the day he stepped into Westminster Abbey to be crowned, he just went lower and lower and lower. He couldn't get much lower than what he was. He just kept sinking. Disgusting person. And he deserves to be laughed at. He deserves to have people protesting him, yelling, "Not my king," and needless markup or Neiman Marcus, whatever they be saying in Wales. So let's get to the podcast. What did you all think of the podcast? What did you think of the podcast? I absolutely loved it. I absolutely loved the podcast. It was the chemistry between both ladies. Oh my God. It's as though I think this podcast is going to be so much stronger than the other one. It's going to be so much stronger. And the whole angle, the whole thought of women entrepreneurs, it's a winning hand. Well, female founders, entrepreneurs, female founders, company owners. It is perfect. And I don't think anybody knew that Meghan and this person was even friends, let alone that Meghan invited them to a party at their house. I could just I can go back and listen to it all over again. It was just the right energy for the first podcast. The first of 8, by the way. Beverly Jackson says, podcast was great. I love the conversation between Meghan and Whitney. Oh, it was awesome. It was awesome. I listened to it. I don't think there was a video, was it? Please tell me there was no video, because I would be sick if I knew there was a video and I didn't see it. Yeah, I think you could only just listen to it. But it was fantastic. It was fantastic. They just had great energy together, great chemistry. Let's see. So Whitney Wolf Heard, The Evolution of the Entrepreneur. Okay. Is that what this one was called? The Evolution of the Entrepreneur? Anyway, I think I have a little sample of it that I'll let you listen to. But yeah, I didn't know Meghan was that close to, I thought I knew like who her closest friends were, but I think that there's probably, a group of women in the industry, in the community, or wherever they are, that they can call upon each other for support, for guidance, advice, that they can lift each other up and uphold each other when necessary. Something that you wouldn't really think of when you think of someone living in California or LA or Montecito, wherever. You kind of get the idea that people are kind of rich and aloof and on their way to yoga class or something. You don't really think of those real connections. Everything seemed like it's kind of superficial. But when you get down to it, it's just moms helping other moms. I think that is just very, very reassuring to know that Meghan has those kind of friends. I learned Meghan doesn't read the crap about her. Yes, that was one of the things that came up. Whitney was saying that she had gone through this period where she was like vilified and she thought everybody hated her. And her answer was to become a recluse and just not leave the house. But eventually she, did get herself together and get out and do things. But it was so sad because she said, I thought everybody was I thought people might believe the things that they said about me, and that what else did she say? That people were judging her and such. And it was very touching. And especially when she said that she felt a certain connection or kinship with Meghan because of what Meghan had gone through. However, she did point out it was at a much smaller scale. It was in no way, I mean, I don't know how many people have gone through the type of scrutiny that Meghan has gone through without calling themselves the first lady, or I don't think that exists for anyone else, at least not at the moment. So yeah, it was somewhat, it was kind of jovial and emotional at the same time. It was a little bit of both. But thank you again, Joan Garcia. Let me see. Okay. All right, let's go on to the next screen here. Now, Meghan Markle and Bumble's Whitney Wolf Heard get candid about brutalizing tabloid scrutiny. My heart breaks for you. The Bumble founder said the harsh spotlight on the Duchess of Sussex is a different beast, meaning that what she had gone through was absolutely impossible to compare to Meghan's experience. Like, for instance, she mentioned that she had gone to, was it an airport in Ireland? And she said Meghan was on every magazine. And she said, for what? For what? What? She said there was no substance to the articles. But the point of it was to have Meghan on the cover of the magazine. And all of them said something different. Every magazine was different, and some even contradicted the other. She said she didn't know it was that much to talk about. And one of my dear, dear lamented friends that passed away during the global pandemic, I had to straighten him out a few times. He said, well, you know, the trouble is I think she's overexposed. Now, he called himself being helpful. I said, what do you mean? I said, would you believe me if I told you that sometimes a month or 2 months will go by and we have not seen Meghan? We have not heard from Meghan. There may be like, I don't know, Meghan walking into a restaurant and then you don't see or hear from her again for a while. I said, what you call overexposure is the tabloid media making money. But they blamed Meghan for it. They blamed her because those people would not stop talking about her. And the fact that Meghan is nowhere to be seen, then they're telling you what sources say, insiders, what she's thinking. And even worse, what the neighbors are thinking, what the neighbors' dogs are thinking, what Meghan's dogs thinks about the neighbors' dogs. Right? Does the tree lean toward her or away from her when she walks out? And then just when you think you heard everything, you'll see a big headline, Meghan and other people in Montecito better beware. There was a wolf sighting. There was a bear sighting. There was a mountain lion sighting. All right, so we've covered 3 apex predators, right? Then, just when you think you heard it all, wait, Meghan better be careful because there's a drought. And they frown upon people watering their grass. Wait, and remember when Meghan had to be careful because she was going to be flooded out of Montecito? Is that right? Wasn't there one where she was going to be flooded out of Montecito? And let's not forget the fires, even though they were, 90 miles away? They had better be careful because it can happen in Montecito too. I'm like, oh, good grief, y'all, go on with that. Every natural disaster seems to, at some point, reach Montecito, originated in Montecito. I'm waiting for the day. Well, actually, no. I mean, I'm not waiting for that day, but yeah. Anyway, you get my point. If they saw someone in Hyde Park in Greater London, if they saw someone in Hyde Park lurking around, they would have a headline saying that the Sussexes had better be aware because a suspicious looking man was seen lurking around Hyde Park, London. AM, thank you so much for the PayPal. And thank you for being here with Royal Sussex tonight. Yeah, so well, let's take a look at that article right quick. Let me see. What is that? People Magazine? We'll just look at like a paragraph or two just to get a feel for it. But if you guys want to complete the article, do go to People Magazine. Yeah. Okay, it says here, They were reflecting on the scrutiny they have faced in the public eye. Now, see, I didn't know that this Whitney Wolf Herd, I didn't know about her and Bumble and all of the stuff she went through, and that she was, being dragged and all that kind of stuff in social media. I knew nothing about that. I never knew of her before today. The Duchess of Sussex and the Bumble founder and CEO tackled the topic on the debut episode of Meghan's new podcast, Confessions of a Female Founder, which premiered today. Meghan introduced Whitney as one of her closest friends. And I think that really surprised a bunch of people because, again, we didn't know that they even knew each other. At least I didn't. A wildly successful female entrepreneur and a pal who knows how to put things in perspective, the Bumble founder joined the Duchess of Sussex for a candid conversation covering the ups and downs of launching a business. Meghan's own lifestyle brand, as ever, made headlines last week. The two also opened up about how their friendship began and how they learned to handle intense public scrutiny. Whitney reflected on the criticism she faced when she launched Bumble in 2014. Driven by a mission to empower women in the dating world, the app marked a bold new chapter after her departure from Tinder, which she had co-founded. According to the New York Times, she filed and later settled a harassment suit that same year, alleging mistreatment by her former boss and ex-boyfriend, Justin Mateen, following her exit from the company in 2012. Wow, she's young and very successful. As a matter of fact, they had mentioned that she was the youngest self-made woman billionaire. I think that's what they said, that she was the youngest self-made female billionaire. Let me see here. Okay, so it says, Meghan asked, what did it feel like for those 4 or 5 years? And she said, horrible. When I see the way you've been treated in the media, which is a magnitude I'll never understand, my heart breaks for you, and it's not fair. It's brutalizing. This is what she told Meghan. Meghan responded, maybe because you understand it in whatever degree, you know how to show up for me. So, Meghan is like, whatever, you show up for me, which I think is very sweet. Whitney went on to share a moment that they caught her off guard while passing through an airport in Ireland. That's what I just mentioned. And she was stunned to see Meghan's face on every magazine cover at the newsstand. She said, you're on every cover of every single magazine and newspaper in Ireland, and every single one said something different. Random headlines. You were the cover of every single one of those magazines, tabloids, and newspapers. The entrepreneur said, and Meghan added that this was a couple of years ago. And Whitney said she remembered thinking, I'm in Ireland. She's back home in California with her kids doing school drop-offs, and she's the front page of every single one of these things. I had this moment where I was just like, wow, this is a different beast. Isn't that something? Meghan's at home in Montecito doing school runs with her children, and yet Every magazine and newspaper in Ireland at this particular newsstand, every one of them said something different and had a picture of Meghan on it. That is shocking. That is absolutely shocking. I did not think that Ireland really reported so much about the royals. I didn't think that they would. I thought that, well, she didn't say whether she was in Northern Ireland. Or I'm guessing she was in, the Republic of Ireland. But still, the Republic of Ireland? And there's Meghan everywhere? I wouldn't be so disturbed by it if it wasn't all tabloid gossip, but it is, in all likelihood, just more and more tabloid gossip. And that's what makes it painful. Because these leeches are getting their fill from telling huge lies about someone they never even met, about things that, in all likelihood, they have no responsibility for it. Yeah, that is something else. Anyway, I'm glad Meghan has a friend like that. Meghan Markle reveals her scary experience with postpartum preeclampsia on new podcast. The Duchess of Sussex and guest Whitney Wolf Heard, the co-founder of Bumble, blah, 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 blah. So I had never heard of preeclampsia until the episode of Downton Abbey. Okay? I had never heard of it before. And it is very dangerous. People have died from it, especially in ancient times. There wasn't a whole lot they could do for you. Your chances of survival were extremely low, extremely low. But if you're a fan of Downton Abbey and you remember Dear Sybil, then you know how terrible it is. And to think that our Duchess went through that, and not just our Duchess, but also Whitney Wolf Heard. Something as rare as that, and both of them had gone through it. Scary stuff, very scary. And while Meghan is living her life, being with her son, expecting another child, and all of this stress and pressure and stress and pressure, lies is circulating around there. It's so easy to say, just ignore it. Don't think about it, just ignore it. But when you see your name in print, or if you hear someone using your name to tell lies, to make up stuff, these wild accusations, and then couple that with the continued threats and more threats, and you just don't know if you're safe. You don't know if there's someone lurking about. And then, of course, being pregnant, feeling vulnerable. Not a good feeling. So, yeah, it's going to help a lot of people. People are going to read about it. They're going to learn what the symptoms are, because it can be treated. It can be treated, but it can also be very, very deadly. So, the first episode of Confessions of a Female Founder, and already they're helping people. Already they're helping people. They're making a big difference. Oh, okay. So the postpartum eclampsia, you're home from the hospital and you can get in a really bad situation and hope that someone can get help for you if you're not able to. So I can understand why that would be so dangerous. And that's what, speaking of Downton Abbey, isn't that what happened to Sybil? She had the baby, but she didn't feel well. And then she became delusional. I believe they said that there's a lot of protein in the blood, and that protein causes a problem or something like that. Anyway, it wreaks havoc with your body, and it needs attention ASAP. Scary stuff. Scary stuff. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that is scary. Now, this is the Whitney. Well, that's Whitney. Billionaire. She's a billionaire. A young billionaire. I think she's what, 37 years old? 35 years old? Very successful. I think Forbes had wrote an article about her. She has that entrepreneurial spirit. Oh, let me see here. Do I have something for you? But anyway, this is the way the podcast appeared. If you get a chance to check it out. No, actually, that's not the way. Well, you know what? This is how Meghan shared it on her Instagram. But the color, in the center of each photo, that's how it appears. Do check it out. It is wonderful. I highly recommend it. It's very motivating. You know what? I don't think I have anything for this. Do I or don't I? I guess I do not. Okay. Never mind. Let's go on. Oh, but this one. Now, you guys, trigger warning. Let me just tell you, those people, just like the others, are in a panic because this podcast, Confessions of a Female Founder, is going to go so much further in introducing the real Meghan. And they don't want that. They don't want people to know that Meghan is human. They have tried to paint this picture of her as a monster. And one of the biggest things for Meghan has been that lifestyle show. Because if I hear one more person say, the spaghetti is fantastic, well worth it, I don't understand why people are so critical of Meghan. What does she do? If I hear that one more time, I'm going to jump for joy. I am going to jump for joy. That's what I'm going to do, because they are seeing the real Meghan. They're seeing this I'll just say former actress, no longer a royal over there. She's a royal over here. Mother of two, action figure husband, super cool mother. And she's out in her garden gathering vegetables. She's using that Le Creuset. Everything is just ideal. Not perfect, ideal. And they can't take it. They can't take it because they're not controlling what? The message. And Harry said their biggest fear is losing control of the message. Remember Harry said that? That's their greatest fear, is losing control of the message. Okay.
Disingenuous, but only because of. But maybe it feels disingenuous, but only because of the delivery of some of the stuff feels patronising.
Look, on the plus side, if there's anybody watching now who has this condition, and I think celebrities, and we've seen particularly in issues of emotional health, the two boys, William and Harry, have gained so many yards. Brilliant. So if this helps a woman come to terms with it, and she can now turn to her girlfriends or her doctor or her partner, we encourage that. I just think there's a lovely expression which my late mother used to, less is more. And I just think with the Duchess of Sussex, just for a period, and I have no personal animals towards her, I wish her well, I wish the children nothing but good health. I just think for a period, less is more would be such a welcome change. And I wonder whether many of the public would agree. Okay, let's move on. Asda has launched facial recognition and sees.
But maybe it feels disingenuous, but only because of the delivery of some of the stuff feels patronising.
Look, on the plus side, if there's anybody watching now who has this condition, and I think celebrities, and we've seen particularly in issues of emotional health, the two boys, William and Harry, have gained so many yards. Brilliant. So if this helps a woman come to terms with it, she can now turn to her girlfriends or her doctor or her partner, we encourage that. I just think there's a lovely expression which my late mother used to, less is more. And I just think with the Duchess of Sussex, just for a period, and I have no personal animals towards her, I wish her well, I wish the children nothing but good health. I just think for a period, less is more would be such a welcome change. And I wonder whether many of the public would agree. Okay.
Do you guys see a pattern? Do you all see a pattern? They say something so vile and vicious, and then they say, and I'm sure the public would agree. I wonder if the public would agree. And the public believes that too. You guys, that is gaslighting. It is brainwashing. It is indoctrination. That's what that is. They tell you what they believe, and then they slip it in there that I know you believe it too. You know, if you do that enough, you can be president of the United States. You do know that, don't you? If you say that enough, you can be president of the United States. And I know other people agree with that too. Or how about this one? How about this one? I got another one for you. What if you had several endeavors? What if you've had several careers in your lifetime, right? And every place you go, you burned a bridge, you caused some level of bankruptcy, right? Perhaps misappropriated some funds. And when people started to call you to out on it, then all of a sudden you leave. But you got this one gig that's so good, you refuse to go. You ain't even getting paid. but you're going to stay there anyway. Right? You're going to stay there anyway. What kind of person would do something like that? Where they just keep repeating stuff over and over again. They just keep insisting that that they are well placed to take the charity they didn't start to the next level, to the next goal, the next purpose, the next meaning. And by the way, I'm going to spend a lot of money while I'm doing it. I'm going to hire friends. I'm going to hire family. I'm going to hire consultants that get no results whatsoever. Anyway, you get my meaning. You get my meaning. God, I'm about tired of people. Those kind of people, anyway. How rotten. Anyway, our Duchess made a fantastic first impression today. Oh, did I miss this one? I learned Meghan doesn't read the crap about her. No, she does not. No, she does not. And she mentioned that with Whitney. Whitney was saying how she got so upset and she just went into retreat and stayed in the house or whatever, and she just couldn't motivate herself to get out because she had read. And Meghan was like, "Oh, you read it?" She's like, "Yeah, I know I'm not supposed." She said, "Okay." So Meghan was like, "Well, if you're reading that stuff, is there any wonder? You don't want to read it. Should never read it." Yeah, that that exchange did happen with the two ladies. Okay. Now, as you can see, they're putting their 2 cents in it and saying, "Oh, Meghan shouldn't talk about this and shouldn't talk about that and everything." But look at there. Duchess of Cambridge uses hypnobirthing to cope with sickness. Right? Remember, they kept saying so much about her morning sickness and this and that and so on and so forth. She didn't keep it to herself. It was yet another reason why she couldn't work. See, Kate don't like to talk about herself, but if she can get out of work, she'll do it. If she can get out of work, she's going to sing like Aretha Franklin. If Kate thinks that she can take about a month or 2 off from work, she will enter herself into the disease of the month club. She will have every malady that you could think of if it means she ain't got to work, especially if there's a speech. If she has to give a speech, Lord only knows what kind of affliction she'll invent, because she'll want to have to speak publicly. And then take a look at that one, the analysis. These are some of the most open and candid words we've heard from the Duchess of Cambridge. She speaks personally about her childhood and reflects on the value of her stable upbringing. Now, nobody wants to hear all that stuff, but she volunteered it. She mentioned all kind of stuff about those pregnancies, and every time she had to take it easy, and she had morning sickness and stuff like that. I mean, come on, if you're gonna, and I'm not even gonna get started with is cancer is not cancer. It's pre-cancer cells. It's not pre-cancer cells. Cancer was wait, I don't have cancer. And then you come back on the 22nd of March and say cancer was found. Nothing consistent about it, right? But I'm not going to, drag anybody about it. I just wanted to point out the hypocrisy. That's all. That Kate, when it's convenient for her, she can speak about whatever is ailing her, if she can speak or willing to speak. And when it comes to Meghan, they just want her to stay quiet. They want her to stay quiet. Just like when Meghan wrote the article for the New York Times, or what would you call it, an article or an op-ed, when she's mentioned losing a child, the loss of an unborn child. They did not want to hear about that. They did not, because it would put a very human face. That teachable moment would put a human face on the Duchess of Sussex. But they would rather you look at her and see something else. So they don't want people to see that side of her, ever. Even if it could help other women, they just don't want it. You get a bell for that, Sonia Johnson. Yes. Yes. Yet another fractured finger of two. That must be the most accident-prone person in the whole royal family. It is one catastrophe after the next. One after the next. Now, what are the chances? What are the chances? Yeah, you're right about that. It's enough to make you want to break a finger. Yep, thank you for the reminder. That was right on time. Someone said Kate is going on a podcast to talk about her extreme morning sickness is fine, but Meghan can't talk about her pregnancy complications. And by the way, this interview was from 2020. That was from February of 2020. So just consider that was like a month before, we started shutting stuff down for the global pandemic. Yeah, that was about a month before the pandemic. Oh, wait. Did I mean? Okay. I went a little bit too far ahead. So let's go here. The Queen's granddaughter, Zara, opens up about her 2 miscarriages. She speaks movingly about how supportive her family was at a difficult time. So remember, Meghan is not supposed to say anything, especially being the most recognized, the most famous, and dare I say, the most popular woman in the family, who could help a lot of people by representing, by sharing, but they don't want her to share. They'd rather, on the odd chance you know who Zara Tindall is, they want you to depend on Zara Tindall for encouragement or advice or whatever. And then, of course, Sophie has had a very rough time at it when it comes to pregnancy. She's had a very rough time of it. And I don't know, maybe that's why she's so bitter or something. I really don't know. But she is a hateful, bitter person. And she seemed to have it in for Meghan for some reason. I don't know why. I don't even know if she knows why. But she's had a tough time of it. So it is, and by the way, thank you, Muriel, for sharing these. It is so crazy that in the year 2025, that people will take exception to Meghan sharing something about her life, her body, her experience that could help other women. And they're angry about it. And you guys, I saw some stuff on Twitter today that did not really trigger me, but it might be triggering to some people. I mean, just horrendous stuff. Effigies and those dolls and such. I mean, just, and of course, she was never pregnant in the first place. She was never pregnant in the first place. That kind of stuff. Hurtful, cruel, mean stuff. So if you're, if you have Twitter, I recommend staying off of it until this calms down, because they are going into messages to try and upset people, try to upset the squatties. They don't want us to savor this time that Meghan is having right now. They'd rather us be combative and reactive and such, but we are not going to give them the benefit. Not at all. They will not get the benefit. Let me see. Oh, that's not for me, is it? Okay, when Meghan presents herself publicly, the contradictions to tabloid media coverage screams gaslighting, propaganda, racism, etc. That's why they want her to keep quiet. Yes. Yes. They in no way, by the way, thank you, Coffee Bar, and thank you for being a member. They do not want to humanize Meghan if they can help it. They'd rather not. Oh, the preeclampsia, what is that? Foundation? I think is what it's called. We're so grateful so grateful for the awareness that Meghan Markle is bringing to postpartum preeclampsia, a life-threatening hypertensive disorder of pregnancy. Preeclampsia can occur up to 6 weeks postpartum and can be life-threatening preeclampsia. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. And can be life-threatening. And that's the whatever .org for them. So if you go to preeclampsia.org or postpartum preeclampsia, and anyway, it cuts off there, but yeah, you can find it. But yeah, check them out. Wait a minute, do I have that link? If I saved it, I will share it, but I don't think I have it. Do I have it? No. No. Okay. So, and also it is making around this article. Meghan Markle reveals she had preeclampsia, but it was postclampsia, right? Or postpartum. Well, anyway, it was after. I'm confusing myself with those two. And the first episode of her new podcast. All right. All right, let's move on. When the British media mocked Meghan, they mocked every woman who nearly died giving birth. This is from, gosh, who are the, this is I've shared them before, but oh, there we go. This is from JP Canova. You might remember me sharing this one before. They have is it a blog? They just have a web page. They don't actually, I don't think, well, anyway, they have a web page. But they said let's see, the British press may pretend it's all just a bit of harmless banter, but when this morning host rolled their eyes at Meghan talking about postpartum preeclampsia, a condition that hospitalizes thousands of women and kill more than a few, they weren't just sneering at a duchess, they were sneering at every woman who's ever clung to life in a maternity ward, terrified, bleeding, and ignored. Now, that is very accurate. And they have been mocking Meghan today. They have been. They have been mocking our Duchess, which should come as no surprise, of course, but still it's not cool. And especially when it's something serious like that. When it is something serious like that, doesn't your hostility take a break? Does it ever take a break? Does your sarcasm and bitterness ever take a break? Does it ever take the day off? I'm just asking for a friend. Let's see here. Anyway, it is a very short article, I think. Oh, where am I at here? Oh, yeah, there it is. When Meghan said that she was showing up for her child, she was speaking the language of survival, of a woman who had magnesium sulfate drips in her arm and heart monitor on their bellies, of women who walked the terrifying line between life and death just to hold their baby. But to this morning host, it was a punchline material. It was punchline material. Is she speaking another language? One said, as if she had been quoting alien poetry instead of describing one of the most common yet devastating complications in childbirth. This wasn't just cruel, it was callous, deliberately, woefully so. Then came the icy warning, less is more, right? Remember the guy said, less is more? My mother always said, less is more. No advice, a threat, the same of 4 words the British press had been shouting at Meghan since the moment she had the audacity to be Black, brilliant, and unwilling to bow to their cartoon version of royal womanhood. The same words they threw at any woman who speaks her truth a bit too loudly for their comfort. So I only saw a small clip of that, but apparently there's more to it. But I got that from another squatty. But those people that we saw earlier, they were having more than just, a passing conversation. It appears as though it was like a big joke. How ignorant. How ignorant. Oh, well. Let me see. yeah, that's just about it for that. All right, let me go on to the next thing. Yeah, it is a good article. Here, I'll put the link. If anybody wants to take another look at it, I will put the link. There you go. Now let me go up here and oh, there it is right there. I will put that at the top of the chat. There it is. So if you want to access that article, there it is right there. The link is at the top of the chat. Oh, really? Okay. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. Royanika. Royanika. Let's hear what Royanika had to say. Roya? Roya.
Wealthy influence. I think the game plan, one of them is to...
Oh, you know what? That is part 2. Let me find part 1 of that. Yeah, I think, is that right?
And it also speaks a little bit to our national approach to these sorts of things. I was serving in the Gulf War, and I spent a bit of time in the US after.
Oh, no, that's not it. Oh, dear. Oh, okay, I think this is it.
I think the game plan, one of them is to certainly become a very wealthy influencer.
We're going to do this with compassion and not too much cynicism, but the simple truth is you wouldn't know as a super rich person what a porch pirate was because you haven't got a porch, you've got a very long gated driveway, maybe a guarded booth, and you certainly aren't asking delivery people to leave a box hidden behind the plant pot because you're out at work all day. So it's just this kind of stuff that slightly gives everybody ammunition, doesn't it?
Porch piracy wasn't something I was expecting to be discussed between self-made billionaire Whitney Wolf-Herd and I think it's fair to say probably millionaire Meghan in Montecito. But it did feature in this first podcast, which I listened to, all 40 minutes I listened to this morning so that we could talk about it in the know.
She listened to a 40-minute podcast, even though she's in Italy traveling with Charles and Camilla. She still had time to listen to a 40-minute podcast while she's away on business with Charles and Camilla.
I mean, no, I suppose the ammunition that you're talking about was the ammunition that came from, I think, the Netflix series as well. Just perhaps that feeling that it's not entirely relatable. But I suppose for women who want to set up their own businesses, they might have found that conversation interesting.
Who is advising Meghan at the moment? And what do you see as the kind of ultimate game plan? I can understand, of course, everybody needs a job and everybody needs to make money. But Meghan does want us to kind of approve of her choices as well, doesn't she?
I think she does.
Okay. Let me step in here. Do you hear the smug, condescending words coming out of her mouth? I just kind of think that Meghan wants us to approve of her as well. Meghan is not a runaway slave. It is 2025. Meghan does not work for you. Meghan is not the property or possession of the United Kingdom, of the Time 100 radio. She's none of those things. She is her own person. And she comes and goes when she chooses. And she doesn't ask permission. She doesn't ask you whether or not you think it's okay for her to make a move. I mean, ugh, ugh, ugh. That's all I can say is, ugh. Did you hear that little hobbit? Did you hear what that hobbit said? That the one on the left side, that reject from Lord of the Rings. When she auditioned to play a hobbit, they sent her away because she looks too authentic. Okay? She has 4 fingers on both hands and 3 big giant toes and lots of hair on top of her feet. That is a hobbit, not a journalist. A hobbit who has delusions of grandeur as though she can ask and receive words and permission. I think not. So anyway, let me let y'all finish listening to that of him, or her, or they.
As in America, I don't think she cares so much about whether we over here approve of her choices anymore. I mean, she walked away from the UK. In terms of who's advising her, it's a really good question. I mean, from all the people I've spoken to in the past who've worked with her, the advice that Meghan tends to take is her own advice. It's always been the kind of discussion that perhaps sometimes Harry and Meghan don't take as much advice as they could from people with their best interests at heart. In terms of the game plan, I think, I have to say, from what we saw kind of off the back of the As Ever and With Love Meghan launch, and seeing the kind of paid partnership product she's doing in terms of, link and bio, I think the game plan, one of them, is to certainly become a very wealthy influencer. And I think by having a podcast, by having that Netflix series, by, Shop What I'm Wearing, that's more the direction I think she's moving in. I could be wrong, but we haven't heard so much about the philanthropy recently. It's been more about this brand building in terms of actual commercial brand.
Oh, that little hobbit gives me gas. That little hobbit gives me gas. Let me see. More than 200,000 women who have loved and trust Medi for... Oh, you know what? I did not put the rest of the information, but I do believe that Meghan may have invested in this company. I could not find any more information. Just one person posted that. And I do so like to verify things before I share it. And I never did get enough information for my taste. But let me see. Where is that? Oh, let me see here. So it's in Fortune magazine, and there is a paywall, and I have not been able to get past it, but it says here, Duchess Meghan is an investor in a woman's midlife health startup, Medi Health. Fortune Mags report in their, or is that feature? In well, it says Fortune Mag reports in their new magazine. Medi was founded by women for women, from finding expert care to getting prescriptions covered. Good God, have I been on here for 2.5 hours? Is that right? I have been on here for 2.5 hours? Jeez Louise, when did that happen? Did somebody roofie me? Yes, I cannot get past this paywall, you guys. I would love to share that information, but I don't want to buy another subscription for something. I got too many things that I'm subscribed to now. Okay. 2.5 hours? Lord. Uh-oh. Is that it? I think I got it. I think I got it. Ooh, I got past the paywall. Or did I? Yes. Okay, the Duchess sat down and spoke of the tariffs. It sounds like a screen from a bygone age of quill pens and what is that? Mercantilism. But this was Monday. I was interviewing Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, amid the drama of the Trump trade tempest. Just 1 week ago, the actress turned royal turned entrepreneur launched the first products from her new consumer lifestyle brand as ever. The timing means that the brand is making its debut in a radically different business environment than what anyone would have anticipated when Meghan started the company last year. According to Meghan, though, the business is well positioned for the times. At the moment, all of our products are currently made in the USA, so we don't anticipate tariffs affecting us directly. Meghan told Fortune, but as we look at the larger context of how this is going to affect the consumer day by day, I'm very grateful that in part of the conception of her brand, I wanted to create products that look more prestige, right? But are more accessible and affordable. I think during any time of recession, people still want to find creature comforts items that can bring them joy. Okay, so I'm trying to get to the part about her investment. Okay. Well, okay. That's a pretty long article. Oh, not so long. But I just don't see where it says she invested in something. Oh, there it is. I see it. It seems like Meghan sees the core audience for As Ever to be women, a through line to the podcast, which focuses specifically on female entrepreneurs at a time when they still receive single-digit percentage of total venture funding, is also a through line to her own angel investing for the last, I forgot about the angel investing for the last 5 years, which has primarily involved backing female founded companies like coffee company Clever and women's health startup, a midlife health startup Medi. Okay, so that's all it says is that it's just that. It doesn't really expand on it. Well, I'll try to find some more information someplace else. All this time, I've been trying to get past that paywall, and they didn't have much to say. Oh, well. Anyway, I didn't know that much before today, so that's cool. That is cool. All right, let's go to the next thing. Oh, I love her. You're going to love her too. I love her. It's a very short sound bite, you guys. Very short. It's so short, I can't find it.
How would you characterize how different parts of the media approach the royal family?
Well, we've got 90% of the press, which is right wing. That's one problem. And owned by non-doms, most of them not even living here. And it has been in their interests to get certainly ordinary British people to think they live in the best country in the world, even though their wages have been slashed, their treatment has been awful since the days of Margaret Thatcher. But aren't they the luckiest people in the world? Because look, you've got these crowns and these people and these gowns and these palaces.
Wow.
How would you characterize how different parts of the media approach the royal family?
Well,
okay. I like her. She does not hold back. I forgot what her name is. Yeah, I forgot what her name is, but the lady in the glasses there, she does not pull any punches. If she thinks it, she says it. And she does not like that institution. She does not like that institution. And she has always been very supportive to the Sussexes. Yeah, I've seen her there before. Yeah, I've seen her there before. She is good. And of course, there's Charles and Godzilla. Now, you guys, I hate to start this up again, but I get the feeling that, well, how do I put this? You know, I think some members of the royal family have been overserved. It does not suit them to have people believe that they drink too much. But let me show you the video. Let me show you the video. Sometimes Camilla gets a little confused and she doesn't seem to know where her mark is. She has trouble finding her mark. Not counting Charles, of course. She has trouble finding her mark. Okay. Are you ready? Here goes. And I think the same thing happened when she was with Brigitte Macron. Remember how she kind of pulled away from Brigitte? She gets uncertain. She gets a little wobbly on her feet. And she's not really sure where she's supposed to stand, what she's supposed to do. And so she usually does something embarrassing, and they expect you to take the fall for it. Not her, but who's ever, nearby must take the fall. Oh, let me try that one more time. There we go. Why is that not showing up? Okay, one more time. I'm looking over a 4-leaf clover. Oh, maybe I could do it like that. Yes. What was I thinking? I'll try it like that. Nah, that didn't work. Hold on a second. That didn't work. Huh, there we go. Gladys. Gladys. Where? Gladys? No, no, no. Over here, dummy. Yes. What were you doing, stupid? Yeah, I know, but the cameras is for the other people. See what I mean? Look at her. She don't know where she's supposed to go. Wandering about with those big, gigantic canoes on her feet. No! Oh, everybody trying to help her. Everybody trying to help her. Everybody. The Prime Minister trying to help her. Charles trying to help her. I think I saw the pinky on one of those guards move. Yes, over here, imbecile. I mean, it's so bad she confusing the other lady. And she from Italy. She's so bad she confused the other lady, the first lady. The first lady knew where to go. But then Gladys backed up, turned around. No, no. Yep, she almost wandered away. You know, the last time she did that, came back pregnant with her first child. Can't be wandering off like that. The last time she wandered off like that, they had a shotgun wedding with Andrew Parker Bowles. Did she grow up on the farm? She seemed like she grew up on the farm because, you know, on the farm, it's not unusual for a big old heifer to just take off and go running the wrong. You know what I mean? Sometimes them heifers just go any which direction. Let's see. Doretha Green, thank you so much for the super sticker. I'm sure everybody was everybody was in a state of panic, trying to figure out where she was going. I'm glad it's not a flight of stairs nearby. That could have been a disaster. No, no, over here. God, where were you going? No, girl, over here, over here, over here. You lost your mind? I told you to come over here, and you all over there. See, that's why I don't take you no place. Now I done bought that £3 million house next door to you because you kept wandering over there. That's why Charles bought that house next door, because she kept wandering over there. She kept wandering over to that other house, so he just ended up buying it. Yep. Now I know why Charles bought that house next door, because she just keep wandering off. She don't know where she's supposed to be. Look at her. Look at her. She done wandered out the pub. This was that day she... This is that day she was supposed to go to a luncheon with her grandkids. Remember that? And look at her out there. She done had a couple of whiskeys. She out there laughing and talking to herself. Yep. And you notice there's no royal protection around her. They didn't even see her leave. They thought she was going to the loo, right? And she was trying to get another. She went over to the bar because they went to a pub, and she was trying to get another drink, and they wouldn't serve it to her. So she was just like, she just wandered out there on the street. I wonder what the people on the street must have thought. They probably thought, there's no way that that's the queen. I know she looks like the queen consort, but why would she be wandering out of a bar like that and laughing and talking to herself? Huh? Why would she be standing out there on the street, standing on the curb, on the pavement, laughing and talking to herself? I mean, after all, I know she looks like that person at the Westminster Abbey on Coronation Day, but surely she wouldn't just be here in some neighborhood pub hanging outside, laughing and talking to herself. Would she? Ho, ho, ho. Yeah, she's making that. You know how people do that laugh, but they'd be like, ho, 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 ho. Yep. I'm sure it's not the first time she just wandered away. Do you guys remember when she had that blue jumpsuit on when she went to go and meet with Judi Dench and a couple of them other old queens? And she looked so shabby that day. I mean, she was so comfortable. She just looked like a big slob. Oh, well, I'm pretty sure the Royal Protection Officers caught up with her. They probably had to go down the street to another. She probably went to some bar called the Rusty Anchor. She was down there singing cabaret songs when they finally found her. Slumped over the bar, laughing and talking to herself. Anyway, I'm glad that ain't my mama. I'd be so embarrassed if that was my mama wandering out the pub, laughing and talking to herself. That would be embarrassing. Oh, well. That's a silky chicken for you. They call them silky chickens not because their feathers are so silky. They call them silky chickens because they just kind of slip on away from you, like sliding across satin or silk. Silky chicken. Uh-oh, let me see here. Okay, I need to take that. Oh, what am I doing here? Nope, let me take that away. I need to take that away. There we go. And where did I leave off? Was I here? Yes, there. Now, it says here, Prince Harry visited Colosseum 9 years ago during his official visit to Italy. Back then, Clarence House handled Charles, Camilla, William, Kate, and Harry's engagements. That was May the 19th, 2014. 2014. Oh, that's not 9 years ago. Is that 11 years or 9 years? How many years ago was that? Is that 11 or 9? I think it's, well, technically 10, right? Anyway, Harry's been there before. Oh, well, Dan Wooten tricked colleague into sending intimate pictures, court told. Yeah, this is another story that has evolved from today. Not the first time, I'm sure, but I believe there's an article in Byline Times if you want all of the salacious details. Yeah, you got to go to Byline Times if you want. Well, I guess, yeah. Go to Byline Times. They're the ones who are fearless that will say what needs to be said. But looks like somebody is up to their old tricks again. Was tricked by the journalist and broadcaster. Well, here, I'll just leave that up there so you all can read it because I don't want to get in trouble fooling with him. Sometimes it, messes up the algorithm. Then they don't want to monetize your video. Yep. Dan Wooten up to his old tricks again. All right, next. Well, there was some more, but like I say, I'm kind of scared to touch that. I'm going to take a look at a couple of your comments here. Tangerine squeeze? I think so. Got a problem. That man has a problem. He's a troubled soul. Shifty, sneaky. Yep. That print is so small. Can y'all see that? Because I can barely see it. Anyway, let's go on. I think this is the last thing. Yeah, this is the last thing. Now, y'all know sometimes people try to pass off images from AI of Harry and Meghan in some of the weirdest scenes or scenarios. So this was supposed to be Harry and Meghan, but I said, not on my watch. Not on my watch. Now, the bad thing is, I cannot find the person who posted the original. Because see, what I like to do is when they, make some of those disrespectful, disparaging AI things with the Sussexes, I quickly snatch it down off the screen and I, reimagine it. So that is what I, see the original to be. Yeah, I just did a little cut and paste. So if I could ever find that person on social media, I cannot wait. Oh, sorry about that. I cannot wait to put this in their thread. Yep, I cannot wait to put that in their thread. It looks original, doesn't it? I mean, Kate's skin tone is kind of weird, but and the AI always has problems with hands, but yeah, I was just like, I can change that. I have another one that I did. Oh, by the way, you guys, I am done. So if you need to go, I am done for today. Let me see if I can find that other one I did. And it only takes me a few minutes to do it. I'm actually kind of fast with my turnaround. But that's what I like to do. I like to take the photo and make it right and then put it back on their timeline or whatever. Um, mm, oh, let me see. Let's see if I can find the other one. That's that one. Now, let me see if I can grab the other one. That is a photo. And, oh, okay. I think it says tourist. Let me try that. Oh, yes, 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 yes. Here it is. Remember, after the fires, someone had made this. It was supposed to be Harry and Meghan, but I took it and made it over. And you probably recognize the faces. Remember that the cartoon George, where they were lazy and laying in the bed all the time? That's where I got those faces from. Yep. So if you want to call Harry and Meghan disaster tourists, I'm going to call Will and Kate disaster tourists. Assholes. I wonder what they think when they see that. When they see that somebody took the time to make over the photo. I wonder what they think when they see that. I have never had anybody respond. But yeah, I could do just about anything. If I find anything where they try to portray Harry and Meghan in a bad light, I just go right behind them and change it. Matter of fact, I think I'm going to post this one on Twitter because that's where I got it from. I'm going to post this one on Twitter so I don't have to look for the person. I got a feeling they will find me. Yep, I have a feeling that whoever did that will find me. I think I should do it again, and next time do Charles and Camilla. Yeah, next time I'll do Charles and Camilla. Thank you, TMCD. And I'm going to tell you how you can just barely see. You see how the hairs are sticking out on the side of William's head? Can you guys see that? That's actually Harry's hair back there. That's why the hairs are kind of, those little prickly hairs are sticking out. That's Harry's hair. Yeah, that is Harry's hair. I can see everything I did, but hopefully you can't. Bumble is a dating app. Bumble is a women's dating app. It puts the control of dating in the hands of women. I think it's for women to swipe left and right or something like that. Because she used to work for, is it Tinder? I think she used to work for, was it Tinder? Well, one of those apps she worked for. And yeah, okay. I think she worked for Tinder. And then she had some falling out at Tinder. She had accused somebody of being inappropriate. And I think she got a settlement or something like that. And then she took some time off from work and eventually she wanted to work again. And she had this idea of creating an app for women who wanted to support other women, right? But in order to get an investment, she had to have an app that included a dating service. Now I'm just repeating it to you to the best of my recollection. but I think that's what she said. Oh, Zabeda Ali, thank you so much. I'm glad to help. I'm glad to help. I love to know that Royal Sussex can put a smile on the faces of anybody, especially how weird everything is lately. So I'm so glad to hear that. You flatter me. All right, let's go before they decide to flush the toilet. Oh, Bumble was originally named Merci. I think I remember hearing that. Merci. Merci Gardiner. Gardiner. So the Gardelies, that is the east train station or the south train station. And Gardiner is the north train station. I know that one's north, right? I'm trying to remember my very basic, horrible, mangled up attempt at speaking French. My French is almost non-existent. Oui, mademoiselle. S'il vous plaît, silence. Don't speak. Don't speak. Please don't speak. Please don't speak. S'il vous plaît, silence. When I was walking through Paris, oh, you know what? It's over 3 hours. I'm finna go, y'all. I'll be here another hour. That's how it always happens. Just when I say I'm about to go out, all of a sudden I say, you know, when I was walking through Paris, and next thing you know, it's 1 a.m. So I am going to stop it before it starts. Okay? Okay. So good night. Love you guys. Thank you so much. And thank you all for your very generous and thoughtful super chats and super stickers. I am sure we more than exceeded the goal. And that feels very good right now. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you, moderators, for keeping this the safe space that it has been for quite some time. And thank you, Nana's wig, because as long as Nana has that wig, I feel safe. I feel like there's a weapon easily accessible in case somebody try to start something. So thank you, Nana's wig. Which, by the way, that wig hasn't moved in, how long have I been on here? 3 hours. That wig is frozen in time. Must be a strong wig, huh? Anyway, oh, you know what? That's what I need to do. I go back up to the top. Yes, that's it. All right. So, ciao. Place de Vosges, appartement, Champs-Élysées, what else? Petit Trianon. Yes, I speak French fluently. Petit Trianon. It's beginner's French. Yes, it is beginner's French. Pretty soon, I will be completely conversational. Okay, just looking at a couple of your comments. Let's end with once upon a time. Life is but a dream. Shaboom, shaboom. Life is but a dream. If I could take you to paradise, da 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 da. Okay. Oh, let me see here. What was that just happened? All right. All right, we're good. Cheers. Cheers.